factoring special cases. So there's 3 special cases. There's the case of a plus b, okay, squared, which is equal to, if I FOIL this out, I get a squared plus, so we've already gone in this direction, but we haven't really, some of you didn't really get that much. Okay, we have a minus b squared, which is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. And then we have a plus b times a minus b. Does anyone know what that's equal to? What's that equal to?
AB squared.
A squared minus b squared. A squared minus b squared. And so we already learned these rules. Now what we're going to do is try to factor trinomials and binomials that look like this. For instance,
Hey, Mr. Leader, there are still people not taking notes. There are people dinking around looking at stuff. No, thanks, Mr. Leader. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So in this last case, we saw x squared plus 6x plus 9. That's this special case. X squared plus 6x, 6x plus 9. Okay? So in this case, a is, if this is a squared, then what's a equal to? What's x? What times what gives you x squared? X. Okay? And what times what gives you 9?
3.
B equals 3. What's 2 times x times 3? What's 2ab in this case? What's 6x? Okay? So this is a particular one. So one way to get this is, do you guys know the square root? Square root. The square root of x squared is x. But if this is x squared, then a is x. If this is b squared, then b is, what do I have to multiply by itself to get this? And this middle term is 2 times this is 6x. So this just, I could just recognize this form and say, oh, this is a perfect square, this is a perfect square. This number is 2 times this. And so this must be equal to x plus 3 squared. Okay? So another, so you kind of have to practice recognizing this form. So say I have this one. Y, and they say factor, y squared plus 14y plus 49. Okay? And they say factor this. And you don't want to do the cross and box, you just want a shortcut. Okay? What's the square root of y squared?
Y.
Y. So a equals y. What's the square root of 49? 7. So b equals 7. What's 2 times y times 7? 14y, right? So 2ab equals this times 2, which is 14y. So do you see that this form is really the same as this? So what would this factor to without having to do the cross and box or the cross or anything like
Y
that?
plus 7.
Y plus, no, just y plus 7 squared. Okay? So, no, what times y gives you 49? 7. And what times y gives you y squared? Y. And if this is 2 times y times 7, which it is, then this is equivalent to y plus 7 squared because of this. A plus b squared is equal to a.
Oh.
It's just kind of finding a shortcut. I mean, I could do that by doing the cross and box. You could always default. It's just giving you a shortcut method. You could say, okay, I know 49 goes down here. I know that 14 goes down here. What 2 numbers multiply to 49 and add to 14? 7 and 7. Yes, Aaron?
Does that say 49 next to 14y?
That says 49. 49 right there. So you could do this, okay? No problem. That's y plus 7 times y plus 7. But it's just giving you a way to recognize recognize that form. So if you see something of that form, you say, oh, that's the sum of a square. And you kind of use the shortcut. Yes?
So the shortcut is basically find out what times what equals that.
If this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square, and this number here is the square root of this times the square root of this times the square root of this times 2, then it's a perfect square trinomial. Okay, we'll do another one, you'll see. Okay? What? Let me just do another example, okay? Michaela. Say you had something that looked like, let's make another one. Last one, or not the last, m squared plus 10m plus 25. Who can tell me without doing the cross what this is equal to? So, raise your hand. Anyone else? 5 and 5. So what plus 5 and what plus 5? Or what times 5 and what?
Is it m plus 5 squared?
It's just m plus 5 squared, okay? Because it's just m plus 5 squared. Good, Renata. Because this, the square root of m is, so a equals m, right? B equals 5. And 2 times 5 times m is equal to 10m. So this takes this form, so this is just m plus 5 squared. Okay, it's just kind of a shortcut. You don't have to use it, right? But it's a
shortcut.
It's a shortcut. And sometimes it confuses people, and sometimes I forget to use it. So then it can get tricky if they start throwing in coefficients. So where it becomes especially useful is what if I had 9y squared, 9y squared plus 12y, 12y plus 4. What's the square root of 9y squared? What do I have to multiply? 3y. Okay? 3y. What's the square root of 4? 2. What's 2 times 2y times 2? What's 2 times 2y times 2? I messed up. I messed up, didn't I? Oh, that's wrong. No, I mean 3 times 2y. Sorry. What's 3 times 2y times 2?
12y.
12y. Okay? So, using that fact, how could someone rewrite this for me? How could I rewrite this without having to do the cross and bind? You're raising your hand?
No.
You know?
No.
Yeah, you said you know. You don't raise your hand. Okay. How about you? Brianna? No. Who knows? Who knows? No? Go ahead, Grace.
Is it 3y plus 2?
That's all it is. 3y plus 2 squared. Okay, because, so if I didn't know that, I would have used the cross and box method. Okay, so this one is 3y plus 2 squared. Okay? We'll do some ones with minuses. Right? So let's look at one with a minus in between. It's almost exactly the same thing, except it's got a minus instead of plus as the middle term. Okay? So say I had y squared minus 6y plus 9. Who could tell me what that factors to? When they say factor. What's the square root of 9? 3. What's 2 times 3 times 1? 2. So So A equals y, right? B equals 3. 2 times y times 3 is 6y. But this is a negative right here. So what two things could I multiply together that would give me this thing right here? They're both the same. Yes. Ian!
3.
Negative.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
No.
Oh.
Negative, right? So,
Well, why is it? Never mind.
so this is just y minus 3 squared, because this is equal to y minus 3 times y minus 3, right? Because this, if I FOIL this out, I get y squared minus 3y minus 3y again plus 9. So if there's a minus in the middle, that means that this must have been a minus to begin with. Yeah? It's not that hard, is it?
It's making sense.
It's making sense. Oh, good. Oh, good. So do skunks. Skunks do that too. They make sense.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Okay. Let's do. Okay. Let's do one more kind of like that. What if I had x squared? Let's do 4x squared. Let me see if I can make up a good one. Minus
8. 24.
9 minus 24x plus 9. Who could tell me what that comes out to be if I just want to factor it like that? Chris has his hand up.
Oh,
No, you're just stretching.
yes.
It looks an awful lot like you had your hand up. I don't know. Okay. All right. Don't go to an auction.
What was that noise?
You shouldn't go to an auction like that. Because what if they say, who wants to pay $1 million for this? Who wants to pay and then you go like this, you're gonna owe them $1 million.
Don't worry, I'll be paying attention.
Okay. Okay. Who can tell me what is this equal to? What's that equal to? What's the square root of 4x squared? 2x. What's the square root of 9? 3. What goes in the middle? I mean, there's not, so this is what this, because the square root of this is 3, right? So if I FOIL this out, since 3 times 2 is 6, whoops, I screwed up, didn't I? That should be a minus 12, not a 9. I made a bad problem.
I did it right.
Minus 12. Yeah, I made a bad problem because that should be a minus 12. Anyway, okay, let's try one with a difference. What if I have x squared minus 25? This is an easy one. And they say factor. This is called the difference of two squares. What is x? What two things could I multiply together to get x squared minus 25? So the middle terms cancel out. Going back up here, look. Going back to my previous page. Look, a plus b times a minus b. Michaela. A plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. So going back, if I have x squared minus 25, what two things did I multiply together to get that x squared minus 25? Plus 5 and negative 5. Okay? So if you see it like this, where this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square, and there's nothing in the middle, it's just x minus 5 times x plus 5. If there's nothing in the middle, no middle term, then one is just plus and one is just minus, if they're both perfect square. So let's do one more. M squared minus 64. Who can tell me what that factors to? Raise your hand. These are easy. Okay? Who can tell me what that one factors to? Ian.
M minus 8 and M plus 8.
You got it. M minus 8 and M plus 8. Okay, you crushed that bad boy. It's making sense.
You're a champion.
All right. Okay, what if I had something that looked like this? This is a little trickier. 4m squared minus 16. Who thinks they got that one? What two things could I multiply together to get 4m squared minus 16? Go ahead, Nolan.
2m plus 4, 2m minus
It would be 2m plus 4 and 2m minus 4. Very nice. Because this times this is 4m squared. This times this is negative 16. And the two middle terms, if I did FOIL those out, right, they would cancel each other out. See? Yes?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Good. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. So let's try one more. You try. And then I get to teach you one more thing. Two more things. They're quick though. Okay. What if I had there's 25? You try. 25n squared minus 1. This one's, don't they always? Okay. I thought I was pretty good at math until I took like calculus 2 or something like that. Then it always gets harder, you know. Like there's always another level. Like my friend, should I tell them another story? Anyway, but there's only so many people who could understand it after a while. So what if I saw something like this? 24g squared minus 6. And you say, I have no idea what to do there. There's a, Keegan, there's a common factor in here, okay? What goes into 24 and 6? 6. So what I do first, if I see something like this, is I pull out a 6. Yeah, 3 goes in there, but that's not going to help me. You want to take out the GCF, which is 6. 6 times what? You guys have a hard time with this. 6 times what gives you 24g squared?
4.
4 what? G what?
Squared.
Squared minus 1. Now what does this 4g squared minus 1 factor to? What? This is a difference of 2 squares. What's the square root of 4g squared?
2g.
2g plus 1, 2g minus 1. So sometimes if you see something like that looks like this, you have to pull out a GCF first. Okay? One more like that, and then we'll be done. Okay? What if I had 2y squared?
What time did this class go?
When the bell rings. What if I had 2y squared plus 12y plus 18. That work? And they say factor. Okay?
You're wrong by 20 minutes.
What number goes into, you try. You try that one, okay? See if you can pull out a common factor and then factor it. After I pull out the 2, okay, I'm left with y squared plus 6y plus 9. This one should look familiar because we've already done this problem. What two things can I multiply to get this? And I'll give you a hint, they're both the same.
3.
3.
Y plus 3 squared, okay? So this ugly looking thing, first I pulled out a 2, but then I see, oh, this is the sum of 2 perfect squares, and I get that, okay? So I'm kind of done here, and I'm going to tell you that your homework is page 526. Page 526, 2 through 36 evens, okay? So you could start on that now. Ready, go.